When we talk about love, it often feels mysterious. Why does someone fall in love with you? Why does someone choose you and not another person? The answer is simple, but not easy. There are only two reasons why people fall in love with you. People fall in love with you either for what you give or for who you are. This truth is simple, yet it carries a depth that explains so many experiences we encounter in our lives. When we begin to think about why someone is drawn to us, why they stay close to us, why they begin to feel that deep connection that we call love, we discover that the reasons can always be traced back to these two roots. One is built upon action and offering, the other upon essence and presence. The first kind of love is transactional in its nature, though we rarely realize it at first. The second kind of love is unconditional, rare, and deeply enduring. When people fall in love with what you give, it is usually because they are receiving something they have been missing in their lives. Maybe you give them attention, and for the first time, they feel seen. Maybe you give them kindness, and they feel cared for in a way they never experienced before. Maybe you give them validation, and it feels like a breath of fresh air after living in shadows of doubt and neglect. In these moments, the love they feel is powerful. It feels real, and to them it truly is, because the emotions are intense. Yet, what they are in love with is not necessarily you, but what you provide for them. The presence of your giving fills an empty space within them, and as long as you continue to provide, the love they feel continues to flourish. But over time, this kind of love can begin to reveal its fragility. If their affection depends entirely on what you are giving, then it will naturally weaken once the flow of giving changes. The truth is, no one can endlessly pour out attention, validation, kindness, or support without also needing space to rest and refill themselves. When the energy to give runs low, when circumstances shift, when priorities evolve, the dynamic of love built only on benefits becomes strained. The person who loved what you gave begins to feel that something is missing, and the bond they felt so strongly begins to loosen. The danger here is that the person might leave, or worse, they might start resenting you for no longer being the endless source of what they once received. It is in these moments that many realize love, based only on giving, is not truly about them, but about the service they provide. On the other side of this truth lies the deeper form of love, the one rooted not in what you give, but in who you are. This kind of love does not require constant proof. It does not depend on endless sacrifice. It exists because of your essence, because of your unique presence, because of your character, and the way you carry yourself through life. When someone falls in love with who you are, they are not counting what you provide for them. They are not measuring your value based on benefits. They love the way you see the world, the way you handle challenges, the way your soul radiates honesty, warmth, or strength. They love you in your silence as much as in your words. They love you in your stillness as much as in your action. It is not what you do for them that binds their heart. It is simply you. This kind of love is rare because it requires a deeper recognition, a willingness to see beyond the surface. Many people move through life searching only for the comfort of what others can give them. Few pause long enough to see the true being that lies beneath the acts of giving. Yet when such love is found, it does not demand endless effort to maintain. It does not exhaust you. It does not pressure you to perform. Instead, it becomes a space of freedom where you are allowed to exist as you are, where your value is not tied to output, but to essence. People fall in love with you, either for what you give or for who you are, and the difference between the two makes all the difference in the quality, the depth, and the endurance of that love. Love based on benefits fades when you stop giving. This is one of the most painful realizations many people face in relationships. At the beginning, it may feel like the bond is strong, unshakable, and filled with passion. But beneath the surface, the connection is being sustained not by genuine appreciation of who you are, but by what you are offering. It could be your attention, your time, your generosity, your constant reassurance, or even material support. As long as you are giving, the relationship feels alive. But when the flow of giving slows down or stops altogether, the true foundation of that love is revealed, and often it is found to be weak. When people become attached to what they are receiving, they unknowingly tie their love to conditions. They do not see you, the person behind the giving. They see the benefits, the comforts, and the feelings that come from what you provide. This is why the beginning of such love can feel intoxicating. The other person feels deeply cared for. They feel wanted. They feel secure. And for you, the giver, there is a sense of fulfillment in providing. It feels meaningful to fill someone's emptiness, to be the one who brings them happiness. But over time, the demand grows, and the expectation becomes heavier. You begin to notice that the love you receive is dependent on your ability to keep delivering. This kind of love becomes like a transaction. You give, and in return, you receive affection, attention, and appreciation. But transactions are never permanent. The moment the supply decreases, dissatisfaction begins. You may stop giving because you are tired, because life circumstances shift, or because you simply need time to care for yourself. But to the other person, this feels like a loss. They may not even consciously realize it, but their attachment weakens when the flow of benefits is interrupted. Slowly, the affection that once felt so powerful begins to fade, because it was never deeply rooted in who you are. It was rooted in what you provided. Many people remain unaware of this pattern until it is too late. They wonder why someone who once loved them so passionately suddenly seems distant or even cold. They question what went wrong, when in reality, nothing went wrong except for the exposure of the truth. The love was never unconditional. It was never about the person you are inside. It was about the benefits that made the other person feel good in your presence. Once those benefits changed, so did their feelings. This can be heartbreaking because you realize the connection was not built on authenticity. It was built on dependency. This truth does not mean giving is wrong. Giving is natural and beautiful. It is an expression of care and connection. But when a relationship is sustained only by giving, it becomes draining. You feel pressure to constantly perform, to constantly meet expectations, to constantly sacrifice. And when you cannot keep up, you are punished with withdrawal, disappointment, or even abandonment. This cycle teaches a painful lesson: love that relies solely on benefits cannot last. It may burn brightly for a time, but the flame weakens the moment the fuel is gone. Love that is conditional on benefits is fragile. It can appear strong on the surface, but it does not have deep roots. It does not see beyond the actions to the soul behind them. It measures worth by productivity, not by presence. And when you live under this kind of dynamic, you begin to feel unseen, unvalued, and ultimately unlovable unless you are giving. This realization forces you to understand the difference between people who love you for what you do and people who love you for who you are. True love is rooted in your essence, not your performance. This is a lesson that unfolds slowly for most people because the world often teaches us the opposite. From an early age, we learn to associate love with approval, with achievement, with doing something that pleases others. We are taught that if we behave well, we are praised. If we perform well, we are rewarded. If we provide, if we give, if we sacrifice, then we are worthy of affection. Over time, this creates a belief that love is something to be earned, something conditional, something that only comes when we are doing enough. But real love does not operate on such fragile terms. Real love is not concerned with what you can produce, but with who you truly are when everything else is stripped away. When someone loves your performance, they are attaching their affection to what you do, not who you are. They admire the way you take care of them, the way you solve problems, the way you achieve success, or the way you constantly show up to meet their needs. It feels like love, and it may even feel fulfilling for a while because there is appreciation in the moment. But deep inside, you begin to realize that you are being loved for the role you play, not for your essence. And roles can change. Performances eventually tire the actor. The pressure to constantly deliver becomes overwhelming, and the fear of failing to meet expectations begins to grow heavier. This is why love tied to performance is unsustainable. It cannot provide lasting peace, because it demands continuous effort in order to remain valid. True love, in contrast, does not demand performance. It is not a contract, and it does not keep score. It does not require you to always be at your best, to always give, or to always impress. True love recognizes something deeper within you, something unchanging, something that is not dependent on external achievements. It sees your essence, your authentic self, your values, your presence. And it accepts that even in your quiet moments, even in your tired days, even in your failures, you remain the same worthy person to be loved. This kind of love provides freedom. It frees you from the constant pressure of performance, and it allows you to exist without fear that your worth will disappear when your output decreases. When someone loves you for your essence, they are not loving what you bring to the table, they are loving the soul who sits at the table. They are not measuring your contribution, they are cherishing your existence. In this space you feel safe, because you know that even if you cannot give endlessly, even if you stumble, even if you face seasons of emptiness, the love remains. It is not fragile. It does not fade in the absence of benefits. It endures because it is rooted in something permanent. Your essence does not change with circumstances. Your essence is who you are at the core, and that is what real love clings to. This is why true love feels so rare and so profound. It does not drain you, it nourishes you. It does not pressure you, it supports you. It does not vanish when your hands are empty, because it is not looking at your hands at all. It is looking at your heart, your spirit, your being. And when you experience this kind of love, you begin to understand the difference between being valued for your usefulness and being cherished for your existence. It teaches you that while performance may attract attention, only essence can sustain love. Giving endlessly without authenticity leads to emptiness. At first, giving feels good. It feels like the right thing to do, like an act of love, kindness, and generosity. When you give to someone you care about, there is satisfaction in seeing their happiness, in watching them feel cared for, in knowing that your efforts brought them comfort. Many people build entire relationships on this cycle of giving, because it creates the illusion of harmony and connection. Yet, beneath the surface, a subtle imbalance begins to grow. If your giving is not coming from a place of authenticity, if it is not aligned with your true self, then over time it begins to drain you. What started as love slowly transforms into obligation, and what once felt fulfilling begins to feel empty. Authenticity matters because it determines the source of your actions. When you give authentically, you are not trying to win approval, not trying to buy affection, not trying to secure your place in someone's life. You are giving because it flows naturally from your heart, because it reflects your truth, because it feels right without expectation of return. This kind of giving does not deplete you, because it is genuine. But when your giving is fueled by fear, by the desire to be accepted, or by the need to keep someone close, then you are no longer giving freely. You are bargaining with your energy, sacrificing pieces of yourself in exchange for validation. And while the other person may enjoy what you provide, inside you begin to feel a quiet exhaustion that grows heavier with time. The danger of giving without authenticity is that it creates a false foundation. The person receiving may believe this is who you are, that this endless flow of support, attention, or sacrifice is your natural way of being. But deep inside, you know it is not sustainable. You are stretching yourself beyond your limits, pretending to be a well that never runs dry. Eventually, The gap between your actions and your truth becomes too wide, and it leaves you feeling hollow. This hollowness is not just physical exhaustion, it is emotional and spiritual emptiness, the kind that makes you feel unseen, unheard, and unappreciated because the love you are trying to maintain does not reflect the real you. People often mistake this kind of self-sacrifice for strength. They think that constantly giving is a sign of love, that keeping everyone else satisfied will guarantee their place in someone's heart. But love built on sacrifice without authenticity is fragile. The moment you can no longer give at the same level, the other person may begin to feel disappointed. And in that disappointment, you realize their affection was tied to your performance, not your essence. The emptiness you feel is not only from overgiving, but from the painful realization that you were never truly loved for who you are. You were loved for the image you created through endless giving. To give without authenticity is also to lose touch with yourself. You forget your own needs, your own desires, your own boundaries. You silence your inner voice because you are so focused on keeping others happy. At first, this may seem noble, but over time, it erodes your sense of identity. You begin to wonder who you really are when you are not performing for others. This loss of self is the deepest form of emptiness, because it disconnects you from your essence. No amount of gratitude or recognition from others can fill that void, because it comes from neglecting your own truth. True connection cannot thrive when authenticity is missing. You may keep someone close through endless giving, but you will not feel at peace. You may create temporary happiness for others, but inside, you are left running on empty. Real love requires honesty, and honesty requires giving from a place of authenticity. Without it, the cycle of giving becomes a slow path toward emptiness, leaving you drained, unseen, and disconnected from the very love you were trying to nurture. Becoming whole and authentic attracts lasting love. When you are whole within yourself, you no longer seek love out of desperation or emptiness. Instead, love becomes an extension of who you already are, not a replacement for what you lack. Many people enter relationships hoping another person will fill their voids, heal their wounds, or give them the happiness they cannot create on their own. This approach often leads to fragile connections because the love is built on dependency. The moment the other person withdraws, the emptiness resurfaces and the relationship begins to crumble. But when you focus on becoming whole, when you learn to embrace yourself fully, the love that comes to you is of a different quality. It is drawn to your completeness, to your authenticity, and to the light that radiates from a soul at peace with itself. Authenticity is at the heart of lasting love. When you are authentic, you are not hiding behind masks, not pretending to be someone you are not, and not molding yourself just to fit someone else's expectations. Authenticity means you are living in alignment with your values, your truth, and your essence. People can sense authenticity. It creates a natural magnetism, because it feels rare and refreshing in a world where many are playing roles. When you are authentic, you attract those who are drawn to your real self, not to a performance. And because they are drawn to the truth of who you are, their love has the power to endure. Wholeness also changes the way you experience love. When you are whole, you do not approach relationships with the fear of being abandoned, the constant need for reassurance, or the endless demand for proof. Instead, you approach them with confidence and stability. You know your worth, and you do not measure it by how much someone else validates you. This independence allows you to love without clinging, to give without draining yourself, and to receive without feeling guilty. It creates balance, and balance is what sustains love through the ups and downs of life. Many people struggle to understand why their relationships feel unstable, why love fades so quickly, or why they constantly attract partners who take but do not give. The answer often lies in their own lack of wholeness. When you are incomplete within yourself, You unconsciously seek people who mirror that incompleteness. You attract partners who are also searching for someone to fill their emptiness. This creates cycles of dependency where both people are trying to extract from each other what they cannot create for themselves. Such connections rarely last because they are built on need, not on authenticity. By becoming whole, you break free from that cycle. You no longer chase love to fix your wounds. You no longer pretend to be someone you are not just to be chosen. Instead, you become grounded in yourself. This groundedness is attractive because it offers stability in a world full of uncertainty. People are drawn to those who are comfortable in their own skin, those who radiate self-respect, those who do not bend out of fear, but stand tall in their truth. Lasting love gravitates toward this energy because it knows it has found something real, something steady, something that will not crumble when life tests it. Authenticity and wholeness also set the foundation for deeper intimacy. When you are authentic, you allow someone to see the real you, not the edited version you present to the world. This openness invites the other person to be authentic as well, creating a space where both can exist without pretense. When two whole and authentic individuals come together, love becomes a union of two complete beings, not a desperate merging of two halves. This kind of connection has depth, resilience, and endurance because it is built on truth. Becoming whole and authentic is not about perfection. It is about self-acceptance, about learning to embrace your flaws as much as your strengths, about healing what you can and making peace with what you cannot change. This self-acceptance is what makes you magnetic because it shows that you are not looking for someone to complete you. You are already complete, and the love you offer comes from abundance, not from lack. This abundance creates a love that lasts because it is not driven by fear, need, or insecurity, but by the freedom of authenticity and the strength of wholeness. The right people will love you for your true self. In life, we meet countless individuals, each carrying their own desires, expectations, and definitions of love. Some will be drawn to you for what you can give, others will be drawn to you for how you make them feel, and many will simply pass through, never truly seeing who you are beneath the surface. But among them, there are a few who look beyond the roles you play, the things you provide, and the masks you wear. These are the right people, the ones who connect with your essence, who recognize your worth without you having to constantly prove it, who choose you not for convenience or gain, but for the truth of your being. When the right people come into your life, there is no need for performance. You do not have to pretend to be stronger than you are. You do not have to exhaust yourself by giving endlessly, and you do not have to mold yourself into an image that fits their expectations. Instead, you are free to exist as you are. Your flaws are not used against you. Your imperfections are not reasons for withdrawal, and your quiet moments are not mistaken for lack of love. With the right people, there is a sense of acceptance that goes deeper than words. They see you, and that is enough. The love of the right people feels different because it is steady. It does not vanish when you stumble. It does not fade when you are tired. And it does not weaken when you are unable to give as much as before. Their love is not a contract based on benefits, but a recognition of who you are at the core. This recognition is rare, which is why finding the right people is so valuable. Many spend years trying to earn love from the wrong people, bending themselves into shapes that betray their own essence, only to realize later that no matter how much they give, no matter how much they change, it will never be enough. The wrong people will always want more, because their love is not rooted in your truth. The right people, however, do not ask you to become someone else. They do not pressure you to hide your weaknesses or silence your voice. They invite you to bring your full self into the connection, both the light and the shadow, both the strength and the vulnerability. And because they love your true self, there is no fear of rejection, when you show your authenticity. This creates a bond that is unshakable, because it is not built on illusions but on truth. It is important to understand that not everyone is meant to be the right person for you. Sometimes we cling to relationships because we fear being alone, because we think we can change someone, or because we believe love is supposed to be hard and painful. But the truth is that love, when it comes from the right people, is not a constant battle. It may have challenges, but those challenges do not destroy the foundation. They become opportunities to grow closer, because the love itself is not conditional. The right people bring peace. They bring a sense of belonging that cannot be faked. They make you feel at home, not because of what you provide for them, but because of who you are when you are with them. Their presence encourages you to grow, to be honest, to take off the masks you had to wear for others. And in that honesty, you feel lighter, freer, more connected than ever before. This is the gift of being loved for your true self. The journey to finding the right people often begins with the courage to be authentic. When you stop performing, stop pretending, and stop giving out of fear, you naturally repel those who only wanted benefits. At the same time, you attract those who value truth, those who see beyond appearances, those who connect with your essence. In this way, authenticity acts like a filter, allowing only the right people to remain, while the wrong ones fade away. The right people will love you not because of the role you play in their life, but because of the person you truly are, and their love will remain steady even when everything else changes around you. Love is not as mysterious as it sometimes appears. At its core, it comes down to two reasons. People either love you for what you give or for who you truly are. Love built on benefits is fragile, fading the moment you can no longer perform, but love rooted in your essence is steady, enduring, and real. This is why authenticity matters more than performance, why wholeness matters more than sacrifice, and why the right people will always be drawn to your true self, not to the image you create for them. The journey, then, is not about chasing love or exhausting yourself to keep it, but about becoming whole, embracing authenticity, and allowing love that is genuine to find you. Because in the end, the love that lasts is the love that sees you, accepts you, and cherishes you for exactly who you are.